What's going on YouTube, and more than likely pretty much just Gamer's Gambit. Today I just want to do something a little different. I'm going to be doing a deck profile talking about my Aurora, the lightning character that came out in Rosetta pretty recently. She is a lightning rune blade, and I've been having a lot of fun with her. I don't think I've cracked her quite yet. I've been having some pretty mixed results, but she's been a lot of fun, and I think I've got a pretty good idea of what I want to experiment with. Some tech in here that's gonna be a little bit different, so I thought I'd make a YouTube video on it. Now I will put on my February list when I'm done with this video. I'll put in the description so you can click on it. You can get a look through, but I wanted to kind of break down like my personal numbers and see if I could do some tweaking. But also another reason why I want to do this video is I got some new Dragon Shield sleeves and I wanted to review them. So I'll start with that. I got the 25th anniversary Dragon Shield. Now there's been a couple different versions of the Dragon Shield 25th anniversary series. This one's kind of like, it's got the Dragon Shield logo on it, that 25 years. The other ones I've been seeing, there's like a dual colored matte. So there's just like red on the outside, and then the inside is like gold, instead of this black here. So it actually like gold outlines your card, but it's red on the back. The other version I've seen is it's like a foil. So there's like a Starry Night. Then there's one that also matches like this water dragon art. It's like the great waves, but it's got this kind of like a dragon like this on it. And those are foiled out sleeves. But this one, it's like textured. So it's not foiled, but it is very metallic, especially when it catches the light. But they're textured almost like a Pokemon card. So like you can kind of rub on them. I don't want to rub on it too much because that's one thing I'm going to review on this is the texturing is really cool, especially when you shuffle. It's got like a real nice crispness to it. But one thing I'm worried about is the longevity. So especially when you see in the corner over here, you see how they're like really rugged. It almost feels like it's going to peel, especially after like shuffling a lot. I'm worried that over time, it'll start just being black. The silver will come off. Like the webbing here might come off. But even if it doesn't last a very long time, I think they're very, very nice looking sleeves. That metallic really stands out. And like when you've got a full deck with them, it's very eye-catching. Almost like a deck of playing cards to be sitting through there and like moving them through. So I've been keeping my eye out for some 25th anniversaries. I'm going to try to get the Starry Night. I think those are probably my personal favorite of the 25th. I haven't been seeing too many YouTube videos up. So if I can get some of those, I'm going to do a quick review. But overall, I'd give these like a 7 out of 10. If you don't mind your sleeves probably wearing out, pretty quickly. These are really stunning. They're getting a 6 out of 10, mostly just because of the looks. And then that one is just because they are very easy to shuffle. We'll see, and it'll gain points if these don't go out quite as fast as I think that they do. It just definitely feels like there's going to be peeling after a while. Anyway, so I'll get into the deck profile. Currently, Lightning Greaves are my main boots. I've been seeing some people use Snapdragon Scalers. I do want to experiment with that. And because I'm using the Lightning Greaves, I'm running 18 instants. So I've got 3 blue blinks. This card's okay. The action point, it could be a really nice combo with Gone to Flash. It basically just reads like Gone to Flash has a action point. It's really good into matchups that make you lose go again. So like Jarl pretty soon, this will be pretty good. Prism, this is obviously really good. Starvo, if you're playing Living Legend, or just regular Bravo and regular. So it's a good enough card that you main deck it, but if you ever have like a different blue that does something kind of similar, maybe it gives like a card go again +1, I might play that instead. But this is pretty much a standard card for Aurora. Electrostatic Discharge. This card is okay. This card would not really get played if it wasn't for the fact that it's generically giving a +3 to cost 1 or less. So you can give your E-Strike +3, you can give a Snatch +3. But this card is really gone to Flash, especially if you have an embodiment of lightning token already made. You play your Gone to Flash, let the hit resolve. You play this, you get your Gonna Flash back to your hand, and now that next Gonna Flash comes in for 7. So if off of a 2-card combo, you can come in for 11 damage. That's pretty good. Other than that, this card can be a little underwhelming, but it's really good with Lightning Greaves, and it's really good on Gonna Flash. The next is probably what I thought would be the worst, but is a really, really strong instant, Sigil of Lightning. This card is just really good. If you draw into it from a snatch or something, you can arsenal it, bait your opponent on like trying to attack your arsenal, and then you play this. Suddenly you have an embodiment of lightning. There's also a lot of aura hate right now, so you can cast this defensively if your opponent's going to make you, lose like a rune chant, lose a channel lightning valley. I usually use this to protect the valley, but it can even protect an embodiment of lightning that's already out. Even though you don't really care about protecting, because you don't really care about having 2 embodiments, but it basically guarantees you'll still have an embodiment of lightning. So this card's really good into matches that destroy auras. Other than that, it's basically just going to be a pitch. You attack with Starfall, make an embodiment. It's just good enough. But it's surprisingly defensive. The next one I've been thinking about cutting down, Electromagnetic Somersault. This card is really strong sometimes and really clunky at other times. It's amazing when you're going second and you can block with 2 cards and then pop both those 2 cards back to your hand. And now you've played a lightning card, so you can make Embodiment of Lightning, or you can block again with those 2 cards. This card doesn't really synergize with a lot of the attacks. So it's really good on Snatch if you have Go Again. It's okay on E-Strike. E-Strike's really hard to play bottoming 2 cards, I've noticed. So you mostly are just playing this with Snatch. But it's really good defensively, and then hands will just kind of pop up where this card ends up being really good. And it will surprise you on just a weird combo you can go with it. But then there's also times where it does not do much. You'd rather just be a regular attack. So I'll probably end up cutting this down to 2. We'll see. It's really strong when you get to go second on the very first turn. So we'll see. Lightning Press. This one, some people play and some people don't. I love the surprise factor of the +3. And this card is incredible on Flittering Charge. Giving Flittering Charge, coming in for 7 with Go Again. Even people just don't really see that coming. I can definitely see why other people aren't playing it. It's kind of the same reasons as a Discharge. It could be a little underwhelming, but this card doesn't play very well with Gonna Flash. In fact, it doesn't really work at all. Because you play this, you give the Gonna Flash 7, but then you're bouncing it back to your hand, and now it's not coming in for anything. So you've actually missed the timing with Gonna Flash on this card. But overall, I like what it could do with Snatch. I like what it could do with Flittering Charge. So for the moment, it's staying in my deck list. And then the main reason that you play Lightning Greaves, you play Aurora, the Channel Lightning Valley. This card is incredible. I'm going to try out some tech that will come up when I get to my attacks that I think is going to even make this card go even further. But this lets you draw cards. So the first time you deal damage for the entire turn, whether that's physical or arcane, you get to draw a card. And then at the end of your turn, it looks for how many lightning cards you've got in your pitch zone. And depending on how many counters it has, if you have enough lightning cards, it will stay on the field. So the first turn you play it, as long as you've had a lightning card pitched, it stays. The second turn you need to have pitched 2. So that 2 can be hard. And I'll talk more about how you can kind of keep this thing floating more. But even if you can't keep this floating, this card is really, really good. Next, I'll talk about my non-attacks. I'm going to start with one that's also an instant. It just doesn't play the same as my other instants. So, Burn Up and Shock. This will matter for Gonna Flash on this side still being an instant. You can play Gonna Flash after, bounce it back to your hand. But Lightning Greaves, it's really broken with this card. That's the main reason why I like that it's an instant and a non-attack, is you will get both instances of Go Again, stacking action points. Lightning Greaves with this card alone can make a hand that normally would be like 1 attack. Now you're coming in for 3 attacks. It's very strong. Really happy with this card. Also the burn up side, the fact that it's just any attack you control hits, you deal 4 arcane, that counts for the weapon. So any attacks that you send out and weapon attacks, there could be 4 arcane coming in. This card alone has cleared out an entire suite of equipment and cards from hand on an entire turn just because your opponent does not want to let that 4 arcane come through. So this card does everything you want it to do and more, plus it blocks 3. So I'm not playing the Face Purgatory, but I would if I had one. I would probably take over a different slot in my sideboard that you'll see later. This is probably the best Face Purgatory target, because you block with this, you block with an attack, and you've blocked with 8, hopefully, as long as your attack also blocked for 3. So this card just does so much. I've been very happy with it. It does side out in the characters that, they can block a little bit too much. They're just too unreliable. But I've also just won games on just being able to deal an arcane. That one last point, cast that, get that last damage in. A card that I'm not completely sold on is Flicker Wisp. I am doing the Flicker Wisp suite. I am now into my non-attacks more. So I'm running technically 12 with the Burn Up and Shock, 9 if you count these ones. The Flicker Wisp, you need to Lightning Fuse it, but then any source of arcane that you come in for the turn will deal that much damage plus 1. This card combos really well with the Arc Lightning. So you play the Arc Lightning, you deal an arcane, and then you play the Flicker Wisp and you fuse this. This comes in for 2, and it has Go again, and now every single instance of Arc Lightning setting off will deal 2 arcane. So you can really snowball that with the equipment suite that I'll show you later, where Arc Lightning can come in for like 17 to 21 arcane damage alone, just because of this combo. If you don't have the Arc Lightning, this card's pretty underwhelming. So I have been thinking about cutting it down to 2, but then that also hurts your odds even more of seeing that combo. So this card really, really is not that good without the Arc Lightning. I wish it did a little bit more. I tried experimenting with some more cards that did different arcane, and there's just not enough a lot of it's on hit dealing arcane, so your opponent can just see the Flicker Wisp coming, they'll stop what you're doing for the turn. But it's good enough to play with the Arc Lightning. Then speaking of Arc Lightning, this card is really gross. If you know anything about Aurora, you've seen this card, and you've probably really hated seeing your opponent play it, because it just does everything and more. It pitches for 2 if you have too many, but you can never have too many. I usually just play every Arc Lightning. If I have 2 Arc Lightning in a turn, I'm probably playing both. So whenever you go again this turn, you deal an arcane to any target. So that's go again from equipment, from weapons, and go in from attacks. And that's why this card gets really broken. Because if you have 3 instances of equipment that you can use, that's going to be 3 more arcane. With the Flicker Wisp, you use 3 pieces of equipment, that's 6 arcane. So it also gives the next action you play, go again. So if you play an attack, you play a non-attack that doesn't have go again, which I don't play any of them. But you could combo this with something like Read the Runes even. Give Read the Runes go again. And now you've got 3 rune chance and you've dealt an arcane. There's a lot you can do with Arc Lightning. And it has go again itself, so it deals an arcane just from playing the card. Next I have a Sizzle. Sizzle is my kind of like spice. I haven't been seeing a lot of people play it. It works on the weapon. That's the main reason why I play it. It says your next lightning or elemental attack this turn gets +3. So there's been times where I didn't have an attack, but I had this in my hand, and I was able to at least come in with a Starfall for 5. It's a good lightning target. I wish it blocked for 3, but it's been pretty good. If something else, somebody else in the comments sees something that should be playing over this, I'd definitely be willing to listen. But right now, this card's a 3 of. So that's the last non-attack. I'm playing 30 attacks, and this is where I've really been experimenting and kind of struggling to see which attacks are the best ones. There's definitely ones that I'm going to keep forever, but right now I'm playing Static Shock. This is a 3 of. This one's got Lightning Flow. If it hits a hero, if you play a lightning card this turn, you deal an arcane damage to them. So you can play your instants, you can play a non-attack, or if you've attacked with a lightning card, that all turns on the Lightning Flow. So at worst, it's a 0 for 4 that blocks for 3, but if you've played a lightning card, it is potentially a 0 for 5. Very above rate card. I wish it was lightning, but you can't have everything. Like, I think that if it was lightning, this card would really be pushed over the edge. But it is an elemental rune blade. Still works with sizzle. Just a very strong card. The next one, Snatch. We all know Snatch. Probably the best card you can give Go Again to in this deck. The amount of times that I've played this just to rip cards from my opponent's hand has been pretty crazy. Where I don't even care if I draw the card. I just want a reason for them to use up their armor or to try to like slow down the tempo. Lightning Press is really nasty on this card because you give the +3. You draw the card back from the Lightning Press anyway, especially if your opponent tried to block a little bit and then get punished. This card can extend out some really gross turns. And on turns that you do the Arc Lightning Flicker Wisp combo, if you've given this Go Again, then you're extending your Go Again even wider. So you're doing even more arcane damage. Pretty good card. Yeah, nothing else to really say about Snatch. Here's one that I see everybody playing. I'm not sold on it. If you have an Embodiment of Lightning already up, the Enlightening Strike is really good. You bottom your card, you draw a card, and it will have Go Again. So it'll be a 0 for 5 that replaces its card. It'll already have the Go Again. Without Embodiment of Lightning, the only thing I've really done with this card is give it to +2, like on the end of it, like a string of attacks. That 7 has really been pretty good. You know, a 1-card 7 can definitely threaten some lethal. But other than that, there's not a lot of synergy with this deck. You almost never give it Go Again unless your hand's just really, really, really bad. And yeah, overall, like there's been times where I really wish there was a lightning card. So this one's been on the chopping block. I'm still going to be playing it because it's just so strong. But it's not a must. If you don't have E-Strikes, you can play a different version of, Aurora and not worry about it. Another big reason to play this deck is Gone in a Flash. This card is so fun. When this attacks, the next time you play an instant card, this Chain Link, you can return this to its owner's hand. So what that means, and there's been Reddit rulings, people have been very confused with this card, is you can let this hit. There's a resolution step and a link step. And the resolution step is when like on-hit effects happen. So like if you have a Channel Lightning Valley up, you're drawing your card, that's during the resolution step. The link step is when you're resolving Go Again. So if this has Go Again, like Embodiment of Lightning, or you played an Arc Lightning on it, you can then play an instant during that step. You'll resolve your Go Again, and this will come back to your hand. You'll still have your action point. So that's very important to know. That's why Lightning Press doesn't work on this, but every other instant in the deck does. So extremely, extremely powerful card. The amount of crazy turns you can get. There's been times where I've just been, like if I'm, especially like in the end game, I'll just filter this to be a 4 attack going back in my arsenal. So I know on my next turn I'll probably attack, play an instant, attack again. Have this card forever just be in the arsenal, and I can block a lot with my hand if I need to. It's also very strong. When you have a lot of instants and you Lightning Greaves, you can get pretty nutty turns out with this. Another card that's been on the chopping block, is just kind of a personal favorite of mine, is the Arcanic Shockwave. You do have to Lightning Fuse it, and it doesn't have Go Again naturally. So you really need to have an Embodiment of Lightning or Arc Lightning. And plus, like, demanding that you have the Lightning card in hand, most of the time, if this doesn't have Go Again, that Lightning card will need to be an instant. Or a Lightning card that you don't mind arsenaling for the turn. Maybe something like Gone in a Flash or something. But this is just a 0 for 5. When you do fuse it, it comes in for an Arcane. And then it's a 4, block 3. There's not many block 3s in the deck. So if you're really worried about like being able to block a little bit at the end, that 3 is really come in handy. This could be something else if you want to go a little bit more aggro with her. In Twine Lightning, this card is the opposite problem of the Shockwave, where when you fuse it, it gains the Go Again, and you play so many Lightning cards in this deck, you're almost guaranteed Go Again. But there's nothing else. It's just a 0 for 4, and it blocks 2, so it's a little underwhelming, but you need your Go Again card, so this card will never come out of the deck. Current Funnel. This is a very weird card. The last action you played this turn, was lightning. This card gains go again, and the next action card you play, the like this turn, will get go again. It's only a 0 for 2, but it is a blue block 3. Like I said earlier, there's not many 3s in this deck, so having those 3s really come in handy. This card is really good to pitch for Starfall and make an embodiment. But there has been turns where, I had embodiment of lightning set up, but then I drew into nothing but no go again attacks. So if you play an attack that will use the embodiment of lightning, then you play this, and then you play your next attack, you've at least attacked 3 times instead of just the 2 times. So it's pretty useful. Never coming out of the deck, but it's just a 0 for 2. Doesn't do anything that crazy. Second Strike. This card actually is really good. I was really underwhelmed when I first saw it. A 0 for 3, blocks 2, and only has conditional go again. But as playing Aurora now, there's so many ways to deal damage that, if you deal an arcane, your opponent doesn't respect the arcane, with an arc lightning or that burn up and shock. Now this comes in for 4 and go again. It's really easy to turn this card on, and I was surprised by that. So this card is also another staple for her. And here's something new that I'm trying. I just took out lightning surges. I found that I was wanting the arsenal too much, and lightning surge was getting in the way of snatch in the arsenal, channel lightning valley in the arsenal, gone a flash. So I took out lightning surge, and I'm trying a blast to oblivion. The reason why I'm trying this out is when this attacks. The next time you play an instant card this chain link, you can return target aura permanent with cost 1 or less to its or target aura token to its owner hand. An aura token ceases to exist. So you can attack Rune Chance with this. You can attack Acilio a little bit. A lot of the times he'll have stuff that wants to leave the field. So it's not that good into Acilio. But the main reason I'm playing this is so I can bounce my own Channel Lightning Valley back to my hand. If I'm about to lose it, because I don't have enough lightning pitch, I can bounce the Valley back to my hand and either play it again, or I can arsenal it and have that same Valley that's already maybe drew me a card or 2. That card can now come back out to once again be threatening card draw. You can get really silly with how many Channel Lightning Valleys you can get recycled with this. I need to test this out more to know how consistent it is. But I have so many instances that by the time I see this in a Valley, it's almost guaranteed to work. So I'm really excited to see how this works. And it comes in for 4. So it does everything you want. And then the last attack is Flittering Charge. A lot of people were telling me to take out the Lightning Surge or to take this over the Lightning Surge out. Because with this, you have to play an instant card, this chain link, and then it will get go again. But I think it's just so consistent. It's kind of the same reason why I play the Second Strike. It's so easy to give this card go again that it's basically a 0 for 4 go again. You have Burn Up and Shock. If you just want to play the Shock side, that's probably the worst instant you can play to give it go again. But you can Lightning Press it. You can Discharge. You can Blink, which Blink will now have 2 action points. It's just so consistent. I can see the argument. I'm going to try it out. If I find that I'm missing being able to put surges in the arsenal, then I'll use that instead. But I feel like this will be a stronger choice. So that's the main deck. I'm going to try to wrap up the side deck and the equipment pretty quickly. Mostly I wanted to show off those dragon shields, so this got a little bit longer than I meant it to be. So, first equipment is Grasp of the Arknight. This is actually not my main board arm piece. Most people are, but I really want to push the Crown of Dominion turns. So my main board, I'll pull that out right now. The main board that I'm playing is the Aether Ironweave, because if you played a non-attack and an attack in the same turn, you can destroy this, gain T resources, and go again. So if you use your Arc Lightning and your Flicker Wisp, and you attack, you can destroy this, deal 2 arcane damage from the go again on this equipment piece, and you have 2 resources. And then normally what you use those 2 resources for is the Crown of Dominion, which will be your gold. You then use the 2 resources, you pop a gold, you go again, so you deal another 2 arcane from the Arc Lightning, and then you draw a card. So you should still, after using those 2, and attack. Depending on if you had an arsenal, you should have 2 or 3 cards in your hand, after already having dealt 11 arcane plus your attack. So you can get some really, really gross turns. The best I've done so far with having a Channel Lightning Valley and attacking with a Snatch is I've done 25 arcane and came in for 16 physical. So presenting lethal basically off of one combo, I think, is why it's worth playing this. But the other arm piece I'm playing to really extend that arcane damage out is Vexing Quill Hand. So you pop this, it goes again, so you deal your 2 arcane with Dark Lightning, and then you also make 2 rune chants. So that's another 2 arcane. So this ends up being a 4 damage arm piece. So plus you don't have to pay anything to get into it. So it's very strong, but the sideboard is for when you play against decks with on hits. Probably Aurora's biggest problem is disruption. So then just to be able to have a bit of a fridge on my character, I've got a Grasp of the Arknight, a Diadic Carapace, and the Crown of Providence in the sideboard. This card will probably be a Face Purgatory when I pull one. This card's okay, but I have so much in the arsenal that I can usually play that like CNC doesn't really affect me too much. A lot of times I'll have an instant, or you just kind of take the hit and don't mind losing the arsenal anyway. Whereas Face Purgatory can be some disruption to really kind of guarantee your head on life. So I definitely need to pick one of those up. If you don't have that, this is really good. If you don't have this, Balance of Justice will still be pretty solid, especially Into the Mirror. Then I have my tokens, my characters. I guess I'll show off my Marvels real quick. I did get the alt art recently. And then I got a promo from ProQuest from a buddy. So then I'll go on the sideboard. This is another thing that could probably get a little bit stronger. It's a pretty basic sideboard. I'm running the Heaven's Claws as a blue block 3. This card goes as a block, but also helps me pay for the Command and Conquers. I'm running 3 of those in the sideboard. I'm running 3 Sigil of Suffering. This is a weird card to say sideboard, because it goes into the main deck almost every matchup I can think of. Unless that opponent's just really, really good at like dealing with the arcane damage. But most of the time this is a 0 for 5, and it can proc Channel Lightning Valley on your opponent's turn, which is an incredible combo, because it deals 1 arcane to the attacking hero, and Channel Lightning Valley just needs you to deal a damage for the turn. Does not care which turn it is. So sometimes you can draw 3, 4 cards from the Channel Lightning Valley just with this in your deck. You don't need this card into... honestly, this should just be in my main deck. I couldn't even think of a deck that I don't play this into. So, yeah, I'll probably end up changing that in the February. Like, I just play this card in like every matchup I can think of. And then I'd already showed you the Command and Conquers. And then the last one is Sigil of Solace. This card's a little slow, so I don't play it into like Zen or Aurora. But I do play it into New. I play it into... Verdance. It's really strong into Verdance because like they're not expecting me to be gaining life, and this card combos really well with the Flittering Charge and Gone in a Flash. And I didn't even show my Lightning Greaves when I was showing the equipment, but I'll put that up real quick and talk about some combos you can do with that. But this goes really well with Lightning Greaves too. Gain 3 life, get go again. It's a very strong combo. So that's the side deck. I'll be real quick. Where are my Greaves? Yep, Lightning Greaves. Just in case, this card is another big reason to play Lightning. Like I said earlier, a lot of people are playing the Snapdragon Scalers because they want to use the Scalers on the turn to do the Arc Lightning. But I think on a turn your Arc Lightning, you should have enough set up already that you don't really need go again. But this card gives you 2 insane turns where like after you've done your Arc Lightning turn, they're still alive. Now you've got this. What this does is you can pay 1, destroy it. Instant cards you play this turn get go again. So on the turn you have a Gone a Flash. You play Electrostatic Discharge. You put your Gone a Flash to your hand. You go again. You play the Gone a Flash now coming in for 7. You play a Sigil of Solace. You gain 3 life. You put the Gone a Flash back to your hand. You have go again. So you can play it again. Just however many instants you have. You can attack with that Gone a Flash. Normally that just means that Gone a Flash will probably be helping you deal like 15 to 21 physical. But, you know, that's already really good. And potentially gaining some life as well. Especially if you've already done the Arc Lightning combo, your opponent should be low enough that that 21 damage is pretty nasty. Plus this has a block 1, and it can do Arcane Barrier. This thing does so much that I love main decking it. If I wanted to really try to destroy the Arc Lightning, that I would do the Snapdragons, but I think you already have so much go again on those turns that it's okay. But yeah, that's the entire deck profile. I just wanted to talk about Aurora a little bit. If you have any suggestions for some things I should try for this deck, let me know in the comments. Like I said, I've been having some mixed results. Win a few games, but I haven't been completely, like, I went to a PQ pretty recently and did not get a single win until the very last round when I had a bye. So this deck hasn't been solved for me personally. I could have just been having some variants. So let me know. Thank you very much for watching.